Yes.
All right, this is going to be read super fast. It's a super lot of information and fit into 15 minutes. But if you want to press play, you can press play right now. This is an introduction to SuDagraphy, single image stereoscopic auto-pseudograms. In October 2017, I submitted the following portfolio of images to Stereoscopic magazine for consideration. Sorry, okay. The intended method of viewing is cross-viewing, free viewing method, but parallel free viewing or parallel viewer should also produce a stereoscopic result, albeit a transposed result. So if you have stereoscopic viewers, you could go ahead, take them out right now. Here comes the portfolio. So this portfolio of images was taken in between 2014 and the present day. These are all images that I noticed that I could free view basically in my real life, day-to-day life going about. And they produce stereoscopic results. And even this next one, which is blurred, stereoscopic vision is separate from detailed camera eye, which is something that I learned from doing this project. Even that can be stereoscopically viewed if you can cross view very well. The editor at the time was David Kuntz, who approved the article and submission and made a remark that they were a quirky group of images. After discussing them further, it was revealed that he had never seen a group of images like this, and they may be, in fact, a new form of stereo. So thus began my search and my research into any known instances of single image stereograms or any references relating to the subject. And the first stop was to ask all the people who came before me who were knowledgeable, which included David Kuntz, which included David Starkman, which included Susan Pinsky, which included Sheldon Aranowitz, which included, these are all people that you're gonna see images of, which included Bob, oh, that's Andrew Woods, that's Eric Kurland over there, there's Sheldon Aranowitz, there's Susan Pinsky. These are all people that I asked. These are all, that's Michael Scroggins on the right, on the left, I mean, that's Bob Karambopoulos, I call him. That's Franklin London. That's the SDA chair board. These are the deaf men in Ron Lobby and such up in Boston. So I was alerted to only 2 known examples of any explorations into the subject. A gallery presentation by Eric Kurland and John Rupikalvich of accidental or found stereograms, and a chapter in the following book that I'm going to show in the same term. In every case, no one had ever thought of intentionally creating them, and no one had noticed that the method of creating a stereogram from a single photograph was categorically different from every other known method of creating stereoscopic imagery. SuDagrams contain rivalrous information, but they can also be virtually identical to traditional stereo photographs. These stereos that they produce can be formatted in identical ways as well. So I knew that it was not a format or an iteration of a format that I found. It was a method of creating stereoscopic imagery, which shared the medium of photography alongside stereo photography and multi-image stereo photography. So hold on, I spoke faster than I thought. That's a SuDagraph on the left-hand side. That's a stereo photograph on the right-hand side. They're identical to each other. You can format these in the same exact ways that you would format a stereo photograph. This is just showing you that I took 2 images and 1 image. So I took a stereo photograph of the same thing. A stereo photograph is usually 2 pictures of 1 subject matter, and they're usually viewed orthoscopically by parallel viewing methods. A SuDagraph is 1 single photograph of 2 or more subjects, and they're viewed by a cross-viewing method to get an orthoscopic result, that is. And these can, I can prove that this is the same exact type of stereo imagery. This is in Stereo Photomaker. They can be cross-viewed. They can be viewed as anaglyphs. They can be viewed as an iteration of an anaglyph, and a blue and yellow anaglyph. They could be interlaced. They could be anything you want. These are stereo images. The reason this is possible is because there are 2 sides to every pseudoscopic image set. There's an orthoscopic and a pseudoscopic view. These contain the same depthful values of information, but since our brains are only used to seeing 1 view of a 3-dimensional world, processing and understanding pseudoscopic imagery can be impossible for most people to understand or even see. Holography is a stereoscopic medium in which the pseudoscopic can be understood as naturally as the orthoscopic. The term stereoscopic has simply become synonymous with the term orthoscopic in stereophotography, and pseudo has been almost eliminated entirely from a stereophotographer's vocabulary, except to mean wrong. They are completely separate terms in other stereoscopic mediums and formats, such as holography, 3D CAD design, and they're used freely as often as they have never been deviated from those vocabularies. And this next image is going to be showing you a hologram. And I challenge you to try to find which is the SuDagraphic view and which is the orthoscopic view. This proves that these two views are identical. They contain the same depthful information. Holography is, again, one example that I can show that we can see the SuDagraphic and the orthoscopic view easily and freely and understand them. In order to have a complete understanding of stereoscopic communication as possible, one must study all methods, means, mediums, and formats, etc., of stereoscopic communication to have a relative grasp of the stereoscopic language as a whole. Sorry, this so you can see excuse me. So SuDagrams also differ for stereophotography in another major way. Besides their method of creation, SuDagrams have the option of containing or not containing rivalrous information. That cannot be achieved by a single or simultaneous stereo exposure. So there are things that you can do like this, which is not capable in any regular stereophotography method. That's rivalrous information right there. That's obtainable in a SuDagram, not a stereogram. In 2019, I accepted the responsibilities associated with discovering an unexplored method of creating visual stereoscopic imagery, naming them, defining them, and fitting them in with the already existing categorical hierarchies, which stereograms are defined and organized, presented my findings at the time at the 2020 STNA conference. So this was already presented. Right now I'm in the middle of writing the paper. Okay, so everything is a stereogram. It's then divided by visual medium, so photography, computer design, hand drawing or painting. Then the method of stereo creation, you'd have a single image SuDagram. You could have a depth map application onto a stereoscopic, onto a photograph. You can have dual stereoscopic images, such as stereophotography. Then it's broken down into format. All these imageries can become anaglyphs, side-by-side image pairs, auto-stereograms. They can be interlaced for lenticulars, etc. Then there are iterations of the formats, which could be anaglyphs, can be red and cyan anaglyphs or yellow and blue anaglyphs. You can have stereo pair, transposed pair, stuff like that. So SuDagram is defined as this. They are varieties of photographically created stereograms in which two or more same or visually similar subjects or motifs are captured from a photographic means, either digitally or analog, from a single moment of exposure and from a single vantage point, resulting in a single photographic image containing stereoscopically viewable information. The prefix auto just indicates that it's something that can be free viewed. And SuDagraph, since I was given the right to naming them, I decided to name them. This is an elegant way to nod to my history. This is named for Susan Pinsky and David Starkman. I put their names in the first, the prefix of it, and that's because you have to give honor to your history, and nothing that we do, I think, would be achievable without them. So thank you very much, and that's why I named them after you. And this is my presentation at the SDNA conference, where I get and I'm in the middle of writing the paper right now, which I didn't write then because I didn't have enough information at the time. So it was not until this year, 2022, that I came across another reference or any other instance of portfolio work containing pseudogrammic imagery, as well as a pseudographic photogram, which helped me to confidently determine why pseudograms and pseudographs belonged where I had placed them among the categories in which stereograms are organized. And this is going to be the next portfolios that I show. So I guess I read faster than I write. Oh, I meant 2021, not 2022. My bad. That's a typo. Thank you for pointing that out. Amazing. All right, so I present to you right now my findings from 4 years of ongoing explorations and research into a previously unidentified, undefined, and unexplored method of creating visual stereoscopic information. Its discovery necessitates a re-examination of the existing nomenclature used to define existing stereoscopic imaging methods, formats, and categorical families. I hope to provide compelling enough information and evidence to support my argument that this is a categorically distinct and different format of stereoscopic image type than any previously defined category, and establish it as a separate category of stereogram, and establish that and its varieties satisfactorily among the known format categories which currently exist. Wow, okay, I read a lot faster than I thought. Sorry, I sound like the Micro Machines guy, but like, I'm trying to fit it into 15 minutes. So how are you all doing? Okay, here we go. So I think this first one is going to be, this is a book called Super Stereogram, which was published by Cadence Books in 1994. And in it is a chapter on found pseudograms, and that found stereograms, excuse me. And the word found is in quotation. This is very important. Nobody had ever intended to take these stereograms, and they were never really explored. So this is the nomenclature that I want to change. And these are images from the book. You can buy this book. It's on sale on eBay. It's like $3. I suggest anybody interested, go out and get it. Then this is a paper on stereoscopic art published in 1946 by Norman McLaren. This was found on Michael Scroggins' website on his class assignments on the history of stereoscopic art. That's the website. Everybody should go on that. It's a wealth of information. This is the first instance I found on creating pairs of dual subjects to view stereoscopically in lieu of traditional stereoscopic capturing of single subjects from two separate vantage points. And so this will go and show, like, he has stereoscopic sculptures, stereoscopic paintings, stereoscopic mobiles, all the stuff that he explored. And this is one little passage that's important. The two solid sculptures, one for each eye, are used. The whole process is stepped up by one dimension. The result, when viewed binocularly, should be the creation of a fourth spatial dimension. I don't exactly agree with that, but this is definitely one piece of reference that's referencing at least something similar to what I was doing. The following portfolio of work helped me to determine that pseudograms are single photographic images shot from a single vantage point, regardless of whether it was intended for stereoscopic viewing or not, and that a pseudograph is a form of a pseudogram with the explicit intent of stereoscopic viewing. This is a book by Mary Ellen Mark called Twins. And this is the only portfolio of images that I found with pseudographic images, or pseudogrammic images, excuse me. And these all produce stereoscopic results when cross-viewed, or perhaps also when parallel viewed. I don't parallel view, so I can't exactly say. Yes, exactly. Those are two references that you could take those two references to the bank. Absolutely. The next image is a traditional by placing objects on a photographic emulsified paper and exposing it to UV light and then developing. This example of work is from a student from my colleague Brittany Flesher's class on photograms at Penumbra Foundation. It helped me to define exactly what a pseudogram must be: a single photograph taken from a single vantage point from a single moment of exposure, in which repetitive visual information can be viewed stereoscopically. So far we've always seen like traditional photographs. This is a photogram, and this is a pseudogrammic photogram. And everybody should be able to cross view this. It's a very easy image to see. Are pseudograms autostereograms? That question came up. Autostereograms were developed by Bella Jules. This is his famous book, Foundation of Cyclopean Perceptions. These are images from his book in which autostereograms are based on. Autostereograms are actually based specifically on a paper that was written, these are magic eye images, just in case anybody has it. This is on a paper that was written in 1993 for the Stereoscopic and Displays Conference by Christopher Tyler. And this is the only instance of a autostereogram that was made for cross viewing. After that, the only images that ever were made into magic eyes were for parallel viewings, because the guy who published the book could not see parallel. He could not see cross, he could only see parallel. So Bella Jules invented the random dot stereoscopic stereogram. Christopher Tyler invented the auto-stereogram, and both of them are not the same, and neither of them are photographic images. They're both computer generated. The Bella Jewels was handmade, and Christopher Tyler's were made by computer. And this goes into saying, excuse me, I'm getting winded. This goes into saying that these differ from auto-stereograms because they're not computer generated images. Auto-stereograms are across the board, except for that one instance in that one paper, always parallel viewing. They're never a cross view. And SuDagrams are meant specifically to be cross viewed. And although all the stereoscopic image pairs, excuse me, I just lost my place, but it's okay. Either way, SuDagrams are not auto-stereograms. They're in entirely different category. And this is actually reference. This is reference from 1905 that snuck its way in here. I forgot to edit it out, but this is going in my white paper that I'm writing right now. And I basically back up my claim, not only with the references I show, but with references that show where it hasn't been found. And the research that I did is extensive, and it goes all the way back into like books and books and books that are from like the late 1800s and the early 1900s, and from so on into the 20th century, that do not mention any type of image that you can take that creates stereoscopic imagery from a single photograph. And therefore, that's how I realized that I was in fact the discoverer of these images. And that's it. Thank you.